are for me of what I should expect in others. And I think that that's, you know, I mean, so in a way, I never saw my brother as competition. You know, he was that light that would always shine on me. He would turn the attention to me. And I grew up being Craig's little sister. And guess what? Now he's Michelle Obama's brother. Yeah.
Now this audience and people around the country and around the world have had a chance to see your mom in the White House. But what was it like having Marion as a mother growing up? What kind of a role model did she provide, an inspiration and parenting style did she have?
You know, the thing that I loved about my mother, and I realized the wisdom in it, is that she valued our voices. She was the first, she and my father were the first people who taught me that what I had to say was interesting. Because they didn't parent in that sort of children should be seen and not heard kind of theory, you know. They encouraged us to speak our minds. They talked to us like we were adults. You know, my mom, I say in the book that she says, I'm not raising babies, I'm raising adults. So I want to teach you at a very early age how to think for yourself and how to reason, which means that I have to be willing to share the truth with you on so many different levels. So we were always the center of the conversation in a respectful way, mind you. You know, you couldn't just go off, you know. But you had to communicate in a respectful way. But my mother was also my first and best advocate. I tell the story about my second grade experience, which is sort of tied up into how my neighborhood started to change. Because when we moved into South Shore, which was the neighborhood I grew up, it was very racially diverse. Because that's what black folks moved to get to, a better neighborhood with better schools. My Aunt Robbie owned their home. Her husband was a retired Pullman porter. They had an income, so we moved in with them to have better access to school. So you can see, I put a picture of my kindergarten class where you can see the diversity, kids of all kind of backgrounds. But right around first grade, white folks started moving out. It's a phenomenon known as white flight. And it was happening in the 70s all over cities. I didn't realize until I grew up and really understood urban development and black migration. But essentially what was going on is families like us were moving in, realtors were coming in and whispering into the ears of white homeowners that you better get out because these black folks are moving in. So it was really interesting because there was like one summer I had all my friends, all these and then all the white kids were gone. And I didn't really think much of it. I just thought, well, they're gone too. But what started to happen is that you saw the impact in the schools. And in second grade, I remember starting in a classroom where you walked in and you knew the teacher didn't care, didn't have control of the classroom, and it wasn't something I was used to. So I was that kid that went home for lunch. You know, you go home around the corner for lunch, play jacks on the floor, because you actually had an hour for lunch back then, not the 10 minutes they expect kids to gobble down their food now. You actually could go home and eat and get yourself together. Well, we would watch the stories. Me and my girlfriends, all my children, we could get a good hour in, play some jacks, check in on what was going on, and complain about what happened in the morning. And my mother, who stayed at home, was there, sort of listening in, never really butted in, but she was always there in the periphery, and we were complaining. It's like, yeah, I can't believe we don't have homework again. Because I was that kid, I wanted homework. Because I was like, if we don't really learn this math here, we're going to be behind in third grade, and then what is going to happen? And so it was like, this is just chaos. That woman doesn't have any control over the class. This is ridiculous. I have never, ever experienced this. And little did I know my mother was listening, but she didn't indulge me. She didn't say, oh, you're right. You know, she just took it upon herself, little did I know, to go up to that school along with a couple of other mothers Now, what they were only able to do was to pull a few of us out of that chaotic class, get us tested, and that's when I skipped to 3rd grade. And that decision, that move by my mother not to just see my whining, to see my cries as real, and not just to write it off and tell me, get over it, you can deal with it. She knew the difference. She knew me well enough. But leaving that classroom set me on a course very different than the kids that got left behind. And here's the point that one of the points that I want to make with that is that when kids aren't being invested in, they know it. I knew it as early as the 1st and 2nd grade. I knew when teachers thought well of me, and I knew when they thought I was just a little black kid that wasn't worthy of anything. I knew when I was being taken seriously, and I knew when somebody was just brushing me off at 2nd grade. So if any of us gets fooled into thinking that kids don't know when they're in schools that aren't being invested in, where they don't have resources, and if we want to pretend like that doesn't matter, that doesn't send a message to them about being good enough and whether they're worth it, I think back to all those kids that got left behind in that 2nd grade class and how that must have changed the course of who they were, because it certainly put me on a different path. And I also tell that story because when it comes to white flight, we have to think about it. Me and my family was one of those families people didn't want to live near. And I just want to take a moment because we still struggle with this. You know, that we make assumptions about who people are. And me and my family with our little values and our little wants and dreams, there were people who were afraid of me. We were living our life right, doing everything we were supposed to do, yet with that little whisper of people who didn't bother to know us, they fled. And we have to sort of understand that that's what race does. That's what whispers do, be afraid of other. And I was one of the others. Just so we know who other is. This is what other looks like.
The former First Lady, Michelle Obama. Your parents valued education, but you brought up another good point, which is those who don't value you and appreciate you. And you had an experience, and there are a lot of folks in this room, either they or their children are in the midst of applying to college right now.
Oh.
Some kids are happy, some are disappointed.
Sorry, y'all. Seniors in high school,
It's a tough time. There are some seniors in the house. Tell us a little bit about your guidance counselor who didn't have faith in you and how you handled that, how you worked your way through that, because I think there are a lot of folks here who are struggling with that same sense of devaluation from adults who are supposed to be bringing out the best in us.
Absolutely. Well, I tell the story about, high school. My brother went to Princeton, and as you heard, I thought, well, I know that dude. I know I'm smarter than him. I didn't have that inferiority complex. He was very cute, and I loved him, but I was smarter. So I was like, okay, you got in Princeton, sounds good. I'm going to do it too. So I go to my counselor, probably one of hundreds of students at the time, because it was a public magnet school, a big class. I was senior class treasurer. I was at the top of my class. I was active, engaged in the honor society. There was nothing on paper that said that I shouldn't. But that counselor, sight unseen, without really knowing me, told me, you're not Princeton material. And I share that because obviously it worked out okay. But that statement, while I was able to get over it, it was a punch. It was it's something obviously that I remember, and I could have done one of two things. I could have heard that negative feedback and gone off and taken Princeton off my list. But thank God, she wasn't the only voice in my ear. And that's what I want to urge young people to do. You have a choice there. Listening to the naysayers, the doubters, and there will be many. They don't go away. I write in the book. I'm filling up a stadium, but just today I read an article about somebody who's still calling my senior thesis incompetent. An article today, still dating. Right now. It's like, okay, dude, read my thesis. Let me get some other papers out. They never, I share that, not because it bothers me now, but it never goes away. There will always be somebody telling you what you can't do because there are people out here who want some folks to think small. They want you to set your bar low because they don't think you're worthy, or they need you to think small so that they can feel big. And so you're going to have to make a choice as a young person again and again and again to choose to listen to the people who lift you up. And all young people have somebody in their lives. And that's what I did. I worked around my guidance counselor. Instead, I went to the teachers who knew me. I went to the people who had seen me. And I wrote my application, and I talked about my reach. I said, yes, you're right. Maybe I am reaching with Princeton, but doggone it, reaching is all I know. I am not networked. I am not wealthy. I don't know much, but my story is powerful. Let me tell you about my dad and how he worked and the pride and the values. I owned all of my story as a way to say, I'll show you. Not only will I get into Princeton, but I will get in being fully me.
And you went to Harvard Law School, and then you returned to Chicago. And before I met you, somebody else came into your life. Someone who is pretty special to this day. So I know everyone is dying to hear, what was it about that young man who you were supposed to be mentoring, but
it's complicated. Well, first of all, I wasn't that impressed. Okay, so let me explain. All right, so I'm in my law firm, and they assigned me this kid, right? So all I have is a name, and so I'm starting to create an image of the person that I think this name is. It's Barack Obama. It's like, who has ever heard of Barack Obama? So it's a funny name, it's different, so I'm thinking some, who knows? Because on the south side of Chicago, we didn't have Obamas. We had Johnsons and Smiths and Joneses. No Baracks. It's like, who names their kid Barack? And then he grew up in Hawaii, and I was like, black people don't live in Hawaii. I start picturing the sort of nerdy kind of Barack Obama. That's what I was thinking. And then, wait. So all the partners, the white folks, are all impressed. They're like, oh, well, he's very smart, he's very intelligent. And I'm thinking, he's a black guy who can talk straight. So I wasn't going to trust what they say. He's great. I was like, yeah, all right, he's articulate. So I have this picture of this nerdy little Hawaiian guy. But then I had to call him. So I pick up the phone, I'm like, hello, it's Michelle Robinson. He's like, this is Barack Obama. He's got that voice. And I was like, ooh. I was not expecting that voice to go with the nerdy picture in my head. So I was like, okay. You gotta come in, and then he was late. So I'm like, trifling brother. The Robinson household, when you grew up with a father with a disability, he was early with everything. So I was like, this dude can't even show up. He's one of the few black associates. I was going off and nothing. So he shows, he's at the reception desk. I walk out, and he's Barack Obama. Very cute, ladies. Still just as cute. And he was unbothered by the fact that he was late. He still had that sort of Barack Obama swagger. I'm so sorry, that I haven't taken the train. I wasn't equipped with an umbrella. And he wasn't hurried either. He just followed me with that walk, and I was like, oh, and you're not even rushing. He was unapologetic. And I thought, okay, you got a little flavor. But I was determined that we weren't going to be some, cliche of the two black Harvards, people getting together. So I was like, no, we're not going to do that. They're going to think we all like each other. And that I was immediately trying to introduce him, seriously trying to introduce him to all my friends. Because I was like, girl, he's cute. And, then I saw him play basketball. He could hoop. And that was important. Because a brother's got to be athletic. He's got to be, he can't be like a Hawaiian person. I mean, that's my image in my head, that he couldn't be that person. So, it took him a second.
So what was it? How did he wear you down? What was where you went from, I'm not going to do that, we can't, it's inappropriate, to, well, maybe we can.
He was persistent, and he was like, because my thing was, just looks tacky for us to date. He was like, I don't care about these people. He was like, I quit this summer job. And I was like, oh, you will quit your little summer job to date me? But gentlemen, what I will say is that was attractive to me and uncommon was that Barack was a man who was clear about what he wanted. And he wasn't playing games. He said, we should date. We should go out. We should get to know each other. He wasn't trying to talk to 3 other people while he was talking to me. So I'm just telling you, brothers, women like clarity. And Barack Obama offered a clear sense of, I want you, and you'll see. And I was like, okay.
So we wore you down.
And then I was done. I was in love with that boy by the end of the summer. Just like, oh my God.
Magic. So it's interesting, I was home for Thanksgiving, and I was driving down 53rd Street, and I had to just stop. Because the neighborhood where we live, there is a little monument in the spot where they had their first kiss. I mean, imagine if you had that. Because I first kissed you all.
Embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and the girls are horrified. Oh, they're just like, are you kidding? No kid wants to see where their parents kiss. And it's a plaque, y'all. It's a whole plaque.
The tour buses stop and they look at it.
That Baskin and Robbins, it's a little crazy. Yeah.
So then he goes back to law school, you're at the law firm. A moment on just when he left and he made this impression on you, what did you think a life with a person like Barack Obama might be? Because by the time he left, you pretty much knew this was it, right?
Well, this is part of why I had to start soul searching, because I knew he was a man on a mission. I didn't know it was a political mission. I might have slowed down a bit, but he had big thoughts about impacting the world in a way that I hadn't met. I mean, I had never met a professional young black guy that had been a community organizer. And when I saw him in action, going to that church basement on the Far Side and just turn into this other serious, respected person, I was like, oh my God, this guy has a big vision for himself. But I knew that if I didn't anchor myself in who I was going to be, that I could get just swept up in his hurricane. And I knew I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be somebody's appendage. I didn't want to just be following behind somebody else's dream. So I had